We're coming for you! We'll string you up! God damn it. Right.
Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Figured I'd just, have a little bit of a chat to you about my thoughts on the Olympic Games, the complete nonsense of the Olympic Games. Oh jeez, I don't even know where to begin on it. It's just like a complete mess. Right, so to begin with, they let a bunch of fat acceptance weirdos, Barbara Butch and the rest of them, they're fat acceptance and queer theorist like people. So at the very least they've probably got a little bit of Marxism in there, thrown in there for goodwill. So basically France's government, France being famous for an intelligentsia that defends pedo shit, by the way, hired a bunch of creepy, demonic, in my opinion, likely pedo, queer, trans freaks to entertain the people watching and wanting to watch sports with a creepy, blasphemous, gross mockery of the Last Supper. Complete with a blue man thing with his understandably shrunken nutsack out. And look, you better believe if mockery is on the table, I'm going to have a go at these freak degenerates and the government behind them. Alright, first up you have Small Dick Bloomin', who apparently is meant to be Dionysus. No, that is not a dinosaur. You're thinking of Deinonychus. The very underrated dinosaur, Deinonychus. God of wine, theatre, madness, and religious ecstasy. And if you believe gender pseudoscience, cough twin study, cough both dead, one OD'd, the other committed suicide, cough money was a creep in my opinion, a pedo, excuse me, god of pseudoscience that is likely to normalize a mental illness with a 42% suicide rate, I mean gender fluidity. Then you have Fat Bitch, I believe that's French, who is all about normalizing fat people at the expense of not heart attacks, I guess. And I shit you not, she made it past 35. She has defied all the odds to make it to 43. Like, there was another video going around of all the fat influencers who died behind 35. 35 seems to be their average. She made it to 43, so, you know, good on her. She's also a queer theorist, so she's part of the Sanger and the Foucault lineage of pedo white knight defense. Unfortunately, also a part of the lineage of, you know, theoretically inconsistent Marxists who fucking lie all the time and think the only thing that there is power, so they're justified in lying. These, I don't know if you want to call them people or not, these, whatever they were hired by the French government, because of course they were hired by the degenerate French government, who, through retarded mass immigration, have ensured they have pissed off not only the 50% of their population that are Christians, but the at least 10% and growing that are violently Muslim. So, like, fucking short-sighted, to say the least. Like, in my opinion, like, Satanists are pretty short-sighted in general. Like, they've sided with the side that exists purely out of God's mercy. Seriously, God obliterates Satan. It's not even close. Quite frankly, Archangel Michael probably bodies Satan. But if that weren't enough, I would bet money Satan despises them. I bet you Satan despises all humans. It's like seeking to prevent them to, like, seeking to pervert them and, like, break God's heart. Well, he exists purely in God's mercy, just in order to, you know, drive that knife a little further in. These people are, like, worshipping Satan in the stupidest way by offending and mocking Jesus, i.e. they're the one shot they have in their, like, degeneracy-shortened AIDS and heart attack-filled lives. I truly think these people are fucking stupid. Anyway, look, back to the retarded French government. Not only have they been disgustingly and, like, narcissistically weak, they've, like, reversed themselves, like, several times. Like, first they lied, and we're all, like, saying, oh, it wasn't blasphemous. Then they gave the old non-apology, the, oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Then they gave an actual apology. And, like, if you're gonna be, like, Satanists, at least be like the hardcore Satanists. At least have some, like, conviction, for fuck's sake. Like, I'm sure Satan himself, like, is in turns, like, disgusted by you and laughing at the fools you've, like, made of yourselves. Like, despite, you know, all of this, the two largest religious groups in the world are now pissed off. And they're now boycotting the Olympics. The Olympics is something the government, like, governments in general rely on to make, like, tourism money, and, like, tax revenue. Like, what are the retarded French government doing? Like, oh. All of this is in, like, a climate of unrest where they've, like, mass imported an ideological side in a proxy war they weren't involved in, and they may be forced to support the other side of. Which is gonna, like, open them up, like, if historically speaking, like, it's very likely gonna open them up to terrorist attacks. This is all post another war that they had no stake in. Well, they have a stake in it after their disastrous green policy, but they didn't have any initial stake in like, Russia and Ukraine. Post an economically damaging pandemic, and post a retardedly disastrous, economically damaging green rollout, which not only fucked up their cost of living by increasing energy costs for everything, thus increasing everything that needs to be in transported's costs. It left them economically vulnerable to Russia, whose oil they were initially importing, which is they're fucking idiots. And if that weren't enough, there was a massive blackout during the aftermath of all these objectively bad decisions. Probably caused by the green policy, but let's not talk about that. And the only thing that remained lit was the Sacre-Cœur Church. If my faith went as strong as it is, I'd say that this was a fucking psyop to buff Christianity in France. But I actually have absolutely no faith in the French government to realise Christianity's value, or strategically intentionally hurt their own money by manufacturing an Olympic Games boycott to buff Christianity. I've got absolutely no faith in the French to game theory that out. I shouldn't say French government. 50% of the French people are Christian. Good on yous. I'm with yous. Either way, if you were a French citizen who's Christian or Muslim, I'd fucking seriously be considering while I was paying taxes, that's what, 4 or 5 bad decisions in a row? Deliberately bad decisions. One might argue we're deliberately trying to, economically destroy you and destroy your cultural identity. If I were a French policeman, I'd fucking seriously start considering, what orders, I might soon be obeying. Because, that's one thing out of that book, Ordinary Men, the former policemen who were executing Jews during the Holocaust. A ton of them, it was just thrust on them, and they just either obeyed orders or they conformed to what everyone else was doing, which was obeying orders. Only 5% of them didn't execute Jews. I think if you would have given them time to prep and realise what was being asked of them, I reckon fucking none of them were. I reckon the French policemen should seriously start considering what they're going to be doing. They should seriously start considering the behaviour that they might be about to conform to if these fucking orders come down. Because, that's just all crisis right there. And in times of crisis, you're going to get mass protests. And in mass protests, you get political figures panicking. And when you get political figures panicking, protesters get shot. Look at the Islamic world. Look what happens there. Look what happens in Iran and Iraq. But yeah, there you have it. French government's fucking retarded. That's completely fucked up the Olympics. Is only the latest in a series of about 5 fuck-ups. Every one of those is going to hurt you if you pay taxes, listen to any of this, conform to any of the behaviours being sold to you. It's a fucking nightmare. How do these idiots get in fucking power, honestly? Wouldn't be able to fucking tie their shoelaces by themselves. I guess that's part of the point. They're probably very obedient. That's probably how they did it. And they're fucking overlords, whoever's running this fucking shit show. They probably thought, look, they're fucking too stupid to turn on me. They've got to be fucking... they've got to be obedient or they'll get eaten. That's probably what's going on. But seriously, think about it. I don't think there's ever been a time in history before now where the political classes, or whoever's behind the political classes, has looked more fucking stupid. Think about COVID, assuming COVID wasn't deliberate to, cause myocarditis, to weaken people's protest response to totalitarian policy, and in order to push out totalitarian policy. Assuming it was just a gain-of-function research that leaked because China's, cheap and retarded, it's a communist state. Like, it done basically a Chernobyl, but with COVID. Like, if that's the case, that is, like, just the latest in a series of gross fuck-ups. You've had COVID, you've had the policy after COVID, which is, damaged, tremendous amounts of people, especially in the third world. Like, the damage to economics, especially in the third world, starved like millions. You had the jab rollout, which I can't say anything bad about the jab on YouTube. I might be able to say it on Rumble. I'll make a video exclusively about how I feel about the jab, and then I'll upload it to Rumble. But you had that, and its effects on birth rates, its alleged effects on birth rates, etc. You have them pushing fat acceptance. So, well, I don't know if you guys realize this, but like, heart disease is the #1 killer of all humans. So you're normalizing a behavior, an ideological behavior that leads people to be susceptible to the #1 killer of humans, which is, heart attack, heart disease, heart failure, etc. In addition to that, you're pushing this, obviously pseudoscience gender ideology, which sterilizes people, just outright sterilizes them. The drugs they give them to change their gender when they're young, that will sterilize them. Castration itself will sterilize them. Hysterectomies, taking out the uteruses and stuff, that'll sterilize them. Like, the whole lot. It's, in order to, so you can't produce offspring anymore. Once you can't produce offspring anymore, guess what? No more family unit. It just seems to be the latest in, like, a large attack on the West. Yeah, and like just a completely, seemingly complicit political class. Like, they haven't done anything to stop it. They haven't foreseen any of this. They've kind of just ridden the wave, and they haven't really done anything. Like, the mandates weren't particularly strong in Australia. It was mainly government jobs that were forced to take it. But they were, like, pushing masks and shit. Like, masks themselves were a fucking bad idea too. Like, the masks were like, they were causing you to breathe in your own exhale, and because there's a ton of waste in breathing your exhale in, it could cause you damage. Like, that was another thing it was doing. But, like, every single policy, every single one. And then you've got the green frickin' ideology of, getting rid of coal entirely, even though, getting rid of coal entirely doesn't change the thing fucking much at all. And then you've got electric cars, and electric cars are actually, like, worse for the environment. Then you've got the turbines. Watch my video. Nice plug about the conspiracy theories around turbines, but rest assured, they're fucking worthless. They fucking burn out, and then you can't recycle them because they've got a ton of bisphenol A in them. And where you store them, you've got to make sure you store them away from water sources because they can leach into the water sources. Bisphenol A, famously a while back, was one of the microplastics that was lowering testosterone, another thing which would make your desire to protest in the face of all this stupid totalitarian policy, etc., weaker. Like, governments are, like, pretty shit lately, right? Like, the exception has been Trump, who actually, managed to turn that shit around a bit and, get some economy going. But, like, just think about Biden. Biden's probably caused, what, another 3 wars in the Middle East, right? He's funding Iran again, by the way. He's giving them, like, another 100 billion or whatever it was. Aside from, like, the first bit, like, 6 billion or whatever it was. Yeah, like, that directly funded fucking, like, the not September 11, October 7 massacres, which allowed Hamas to draw Israel into, like, a guerrilla war with, like, a ideologically complicit, population, because, they're all Muslims, and to die a martyr's death is glorious. Mind you, I don't disagree with that, like, except from the Christian value perspective. Like, I think Jesus' martyrdom was one of the greatest things, like, that has ever happened for humanity. Like, so, like, fair enough. The values behind it are different, though. But, yeah. And, like, that's left Israel... Well, I wouldn't say it's left Israel open, but... Well, let's just say Hezbollah thought that left Israel open to the north. Which brings me to, like, just my latest thoughts. Like, there was a rocket attack Hezbollah did, which, like, fucking just blew up like a kid's soccer match. Killed, like, a bunch of kids. And then, like, some fucking crazy leftists were saying, oh, Israel's response might start a war. Just think for a minute about the fucking framing of that fucking nonsense. Hezbollah's directly done an attack on civilians, deliberately targeted children in an attack. How has that not already started a fucking war? Are you fucking kidding me? Not only have they directly attacked civilians, intentionally, they intentionally killed children. Like... And you're saying Israel's response is going to start a war. Shut the fuck up. I don't think you know what you're talking about. But, like, yeah, like, in addition to that, okay, so let's say Israel, Hezbollah are going to have a war. And then after that, Israel and Iran will probably have another war. Because, that's the way it's escalating, right? And if Iran has another war, Russia's kind of already spent, so I don't think they'll do much. China may make a grab for Taiwan, although it'd be in their best interest not to, because they'll get absolutely smashed. But, yeah, like, predictably starting wars. Biden's predictably started wars. Like, through policy. Like, predictable policy. You could have, like, predicted pulling out of Afghanistan, leaving guns in the region. Bad idea. Fucking awful idea. Absolutely can't do it, right? Giving Iran any money whatsoever to be able to either influence their civilians, whatever, not keeping the funds frozen, giving them more money. Obviously, it's a corrupt state. Anything they get, they put a tax on in terms of, like, international aid, same as, like, Hamas and all that. They put taxes on any aid they get, and they also just seize it and kind of sell it anyway. Like, like, it's all predictable. And they're all the same predictable bad actors. Right? Like, if you were going to, game theory this out and try to get everyone to behave, wouldn't you either, like, install puppets which, you could trust, have them backed militarily, and that way you can, like, prevent wars, because wars are fucking wasteful for everyone except, like, freaking weapons manufacturers. I'm guessing that's who fucking backs Biden. But, like, all the regimes in these other countries, they're all incredibly aggressive and warlike. And, like, it's predictable what they would have done, because they're all, like, fucking dictatorships. But, like... yeah. Like, I'd say Biden seems to be consciously aiming for war with his political policies. With his international policy. That's what it looks like to me. Like, that was predictable, what would happen. And if, like, he's done that, how much of it was deliberate? How much of it... And if that was deliberate, are these other world leaders being this fucking stupid deliberately? Are they puppets of China deliberately trying to destroy these other nations? Like, these decisions are, like, disastrous. And they're just over and over again. Like, if you flipped a coin, you would at least get some of these decisions right, yes? Every single one of them has been an absolute fucking disaster. Like, that's looking like a deliberate collapse of the West. Is this like, you know, puppets funded by China deliberately collapsing the West in order for them to be able to control it? Like, China's probably on their way out anyway. Like, after fucking Xi goes, he's got no successors. He's done the friggin' the dictator thing. He's purged everyone around him competent enough to be a successor. So China probably splits up when he dies. Taiwan or no Taiwan. What a fucking disaster. Anyway, Olympics bad. I'm not even gonna fucking watch that shit on TV. I suggest you do a sort of a boycott too, but you know, I ain't your daddy. You do what you do. Go for it.
We'll string you up! God damn it. Oh.